Hello friends, we are discussing UPSC Combined Defense Services CDS 2020 examination question paper. So we are identifying the pattern in which UPSC is asking in various other examination. So as to identify how it will be asking question in the UPSC Civil Services prelims, because UPSC tend to either repeat a few questions or it tends to repeat a certain areas whichever it asked in other examination in UPSC Civil Services preliminary. So we are trying to identify the pattern and areas in which UPSC is asking. We have already discussed the history question, that is ancient, medieval and modern India questions in the previous video. If you haven't seen the video, please see the video. I have given the video in the description box. And today we are going to discuss the geography question. In geography, we have segregated it as physical geography, human geography, Indian geography and maps. So in these 4 parts we will be seeing the geography question. Let us start with the first question. In Indian geography part, let us start with the geography of India. The first question. In first question they are asking about Nishi tribe. The Nishi tribe is found mainly in Arunachal Pradesh. So in Arunachal Pradesh, Nishi tribe is the most dominant tribe found there. So this Nishi tribe was recently in news because since the government announced the lockdown because of coronavirus, most of the tribal communities, they have their own lockdown rituals. So for example, if this lockdown ritual is starting, means what these tribal people will do is that they will lock themselves. It is actually a ritual practice. Whenever some big diseases arises, these tribal people will lock down themselves, and it is a ritual which they are following for thousands of years, because these tribal people are generally low in immunity. Whenever they are exposed to some dangerous diseases, they have their own ritual to protect themselves. So that is the lockdown ritual, and many tribes in northeast India announced the lockdown ritual and started it. So Nishi tribe also is one among it. So they have just given the names of the various lockdown rituals of various tribes. So with respect to COVID-19 crisis, these can be a potential question asked, like which of the following is rightly matched. So the Nishi tribes follow the lockdown rituals called Aroe. Adi tribes. So Adi tribes follow the lockdown rituals called Patter. So Adi tribes is also another tribe in Arunachal Pradesh, and Gallows is also another tribe in Arunachal Pradesh. So these 3 tribes announce the lockdown rituals. Gallows tribes lockdown ritual is Ar Rinam. So these are all the names. They can also ask this as which of the following is rightly matched, and Nishi is the most populous tribe in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay. So because of this Nishi tribe is in news because they announced this lockdown ritual. In the field of tourism, which one of the following Indian state is described as one state many worlds? So this is a simple question based on the taglines of the tourism department. So Karnataka is the answer. So Karnataka is called as one state many worlds because of the very diverse nature. They are having the hilly region, which is and they are also having the most rainy part and also the most dry part also. So likewise it is very diverse region. So it is called as one state many world. So the tagline of Assam is awesome Assam, very awesome state. So their tagline is awesome Assam. West Bengal, it's called as beautiful Bengal. In Rajasthan it is called as incredible state of India. So incredible India is the tagline of entire India. So the tagline of Rajasthan is incredible state of India. For example, for Tamil Nadu it is enchanting Tamil Nadu. For Kerala it is called as God's own country. So God's own country is their own tagline. So likewise each state is having their own taglines. You no need to memorize all the states, just have an idea through this question. You just have an idea of what is the tagline. So Karnataka, one state many worlds, Department of Tourism. The number of people per unit area of the arable land is termed as physiological density. So again they are giving this model of question UPSC will ask, where they will give a definition as the question and they will ask for what it defines. So physiological density. So physiological density is defined as the population per amount of arable land. Amount of arable land. So how much arable land is available for the entire population. So that is the physiological density. It is one of the indicator to measure the population density of the region. So again this question is directly taken from NCERT. I have taken this box from NCERT. It is from India People and Economy, 12th standard NCERT. Physiological density. So this is given in NCERT. Physiological density is equal to total population to net cultivated area. So number of people is population per unit area, that is net cultivated area. Unit area of arable land is also called as net cultivated area. So they have just changed the terminology given. So that's what it is. So answer is physiological density. Agricultural density means total agricultural population. See, in physiological density, they will be considering the total population. In agricultural density, they are just taking the agricultural population. So in India, agricultural population is 49%. So half of the population will be considered in agricultural density. In physiological density, then they will be taking the full. So that is in arithmetic density is nothing but the normal population density, number of people per unit area. So that is the normal density. So this is the definition, and this definition type of question is the most favorite model of UPSC question. So they are asking such question till 2013-14. After that they weren't asking it. So now they have asked in the CDS examination. Again they have asked directly from the NCERT. Which of the following is not a land use category? So if you could see in the same NCERT, India, people and economy. So India, people, economy is the 12th NCERT for geography. In this NCERT, there is a chapter called land resources. In that chapter, they have classified the various land use patterns. So the answer is, which of the following is not a land use category? Marginal land is not a official land use category in India. So that is the answer. There is a land use category for forest land, pasture, barren land. So this is the NCERT 5th chapter of India, people and economy, land resources and agriculture. In this they have given this land use category. So in land revenue records of India, we have classified land like this: forest land. So forest land, whichever land which is demarcated as forest. Barren or wasteland is land which is not having any use. It cannot be used at all for any purpose. So that is barren or wasteland. Land put to non-agricultural purpose is those land which are being used for construction of buildings or city or urban area. So that is land put to non-agricultural use. Area under permanent pasture and grazing lands are those which is used for livestock rearing, where the animals are used for animals or livestock use the land for pastures. Okay, so that is pasture land. So the area under miscellaneous tree crops is it is generally those farm area which is not considered to be agricultural land, like the land which is consisted of trees and plantation. So those kind of lands. Then we are having culturable waste. Then we are having wasteland. So in wasteland we are having three categories. We'll see those three categories, and finally net zone area. So these are all the classification. Again, this question is also directly taken from NCERT. So like this simple question only they will be asking from NCERT. So be clear. With respect to fallow land, we are having many types. So one, we are having current fallow. So current fallow is nothing but land which is not which is an agricultural land which can be used for cultivation, but it is not being cultivated, and it is left as fallow for a period less than 1 year. So if it is less than 1 year, then it is called as current fallow. So it is part of crop rotation, right? After paddy cultivation, generally they will leave it as fallow, then only the soil will rejuvenate and get back its nutrients. So for that purpose they will leave it as fallow, that is current fallow. Then we are having fallow other than current fallow. So fallows other than current fallow. So this fallow other than current fallow is greater than 1 year. So it is greater than 1 year but less than 5 years. So if the land is fallow for 1 year to 5 years, it is called as fallow other than current fallow. Then third type we are having culturable wasteland. So this culturable wasteland is nothing but a land which is left fallow for more than 5 years. So it is culturable wasteland. So all the three lands are recoverable. These lands can be converted into agricultural lands at any time by proper soil management practice and by proper ploughing or tillage. Okay, we can convert this land into agricultural land at any time. But barren land or wasteland is those land which is of no use. We can never convert those land into agricultural land. So there is no category called marginal land which we saw. So C is the answer. But the term marginal land also means somewhat similar to barren land or wasteland which is not having any productivity, okay, which is not put to any use. So that is called as marginal land, but we are not using this terminology in our land use records. So C is the answer. So which one of the following is the biggest cause of incidence of migration of female persons in India? So what is the main reason for the migration of women in India? So so this is based on the census of 2011. Based on 2011 census, among the all migrated women, 97% of women who are migrated because of marriage. So marriage is the main reason for the migration for women, because we are following a patrilocal model. In patrilocal model, after marriage, the bride will go to groom's place. That is, wife will go to husband's place. So this is patri locality. So marriage is the main reason. So if you could see, out of the total internal migrants, 70% of women, according to 2011 survey, and are migrants. So out of the total migrants, 70% are women. Among the women, 97% the reason is marriage. Okay, marriage is one of the major reason for female migration in both urban and rural areas, because we are following a matrilocal model. So this is another question regarding migration. So there were 3 questions regarding migration in the paper. According to the census 2011, in India, what is the percentage of people considered to be migrants? Considered to be migrants now settled in different. So this question is very important with respect to the migrant crisis. Currently, because of the COVID-19, we are facing a very big migrant crisis, because migrants from various states who have settled in other states are going back to their own country. Now they are struggling to find train tickets, and you know the crisis. So with respect to that, this can be a potential question again, but I don't know how UPSC asked this in the different context in February. That time we were not considering corona as very serious. This exam took place in February, but still they have asked 3 questions with respect to migrants. According to 2011 census in India, what is the percentage of people considered to be migrants? Among the total Indian population, 35% of Indian population is migrants. So migrants are those people who have settled in a place different from their own previous residence. So among the total population, 35% is migrant population, that is 45.3 crore Indians. Approximately it is coming 37% according to census, but we are not having 37% as option here, so the nearby answer is 35. So this kind of situation also may arise. So 35 is the nearby answer, so B is the answer. So 37% of Indian are migrants. Okay, remember this fact. So this is one question which was asked in the geological scientist examination 2020. So this examination also took place in this year. So this is another question. So in this year itself, UPSC has asked 3 questions regarding migrants, 2 in CDS and 1 in geological scientist. So this is an interesting question. Which one of the following state has different female marriage migration practice? So this is related to the previous question which we saw here with respect to marriage, which we saw, right? Major reason for women migration is marriage, and this question is related to that. So which state is having different female migration practice? So in India, 97% of the women who migrated, we saw that it is because of marriage, because we are following a patri locality culture, where wife goes to the husband's place after marriage. But a few tribes in Meghalaya, like Khasi and Garo tribes, these Khasi tribes and Garo tribes of Meghalaya, they follow matri locality. In matri locality, the the husband goes to wife's place after marriage. So the groom goes to bride's place after marriage, or husband goes to wife's place after marriage in matri locality. Again, Meghalaya tribes are also matriarchal tribes, which means the lineage of the family comes through the mother, that is matriarchal family. So that is one peculiarity of Meghalayan tribes. So answer is Meghalaya. So Jammu and Kashmir is in news recently. So the question which they are asked here is, which of the following is not the principal language of Jammu and Kashmir? Since Jammu and Kashmir is in news because of the partial abrogation of Article 370, we have to study various aspects of Jammu and Kashmir, like what is their major languages, animals found there, what is the state animal, so likewise what is the physiography, what are all the various ranges which is found there, so likewise we have to study, and what is the various demographic characteristics and religious characteristics also we have to study. So we have to study all these characteristics. So the answer for this question is Monpa. So Monpa is a tribal language of Arunachal Pradesh. So Monpa is one of the major tribe of Arunachal Pradesh, and Monpa is their language. Urdu, Gujari and Koshur are the 3 main languages of Jammu and Kashmir. The official language of Jammu and Kashmir is of course Urdu. People living in Kashmir Valley speak Kashmiri. So those people who are living in Srinagar, they speak Kashmiri. Kashmiri is also called as Koshur. So Koshur is Kashmiri. People living in Ladakh speak Ladakhi. And people living in Jammu speak Dogri. So these 3 are major languages: Ladakhi, Dogri and Koshur. So people of Jammu and Kashmir speak around 8 languages: Kashmiri, Hindi, Dogri, Gujri. So Gujri also, like Gujar communities is found there. So Gujar community, you know that recent bad incident of Asifa murder, we know that it was a very big national crisis. That girl was belonging to Gujar community from Jammu and Kashmir. So these Gujar people will speak Gujari language. So Gujar is also part of Jammu and Kashmir. Ladakhi, Pahari, Balti and Urdu. So Monpa is from Arunachal Pradesh. Which among the following states in India is known as fruit bowl of India? So this is again a funny simple question, but still thought provoking one. Fruit bowl of India. See, the state which is producing largest number of fruits in production is Maharashtra. No doubt about it. Maharashtra is producing largest number of fruits in India, but that is not called as fruit bowl of India, because Himachal Pradesh is called as fruit bowl of India. So though it is lesser than in Maharashtra in production of fruits, but it has various diversity of fruits. Okay. See, Maharashtra is known only famous for mango and orange. Okay. But Himachal Pradesh is known for its diversity, hence it is called as fruit bowl of India. It is a very easy question, but still it is a tricky question too. Supply of, see, what are all the fruits which are found in Himachal Pradesh? Pears, almonds, citrus, raisins, apple, peach, plums, walnuts, grapes, mango. Of course, walnut is not a fruit, but still it's a nut. Grapes, mango, and few more make Himachal Pradesh the fruit bowl of India. This is a tagline which was taken from their own website. Now we are coming to the map. So there were 3 questions in map. So let us see the questions. In India, how many states and union territories have more than 2 international boundaries? So what they are asking is, how many states in India have more than 2 international boundaries? That is, they are sharing border with more than 2 countries. If they are just asking 2 countries, that is difference, but here they are asking more than 2 countries. So the answer is 4. So one is Jammu and Kashmir, of course, because they are asking both states and union territories. So Jammu and Kashmir sharing border with Pakistan, and small region in Afghanistan here of 100 km, and a large border of China here. So Jammu and Kashmir is one state. The second state is Sikkim. Sikkim shares border with Nepal, Bhutan and China. So Sikkim is the second state. Third is West Bengal. West Bengal shares border with Nepal here, Bhutan here and Bangladesh here. So West Bengal is also sharing border with more than 2 states. And finally we are having Arunachal Pradesh, which shares border with China here, Bhutan here and Myanmar here. So we are having 4 states which shares border with more than 2 states. If they are just asking for 2 states, then we are having more answers. Like for example, Uttarakhand is also sharing border with 2 states, because one in China and Nepal. We would have added Uttarakhand too. We would have added the Mizoram too. Mizoram shares with Bangladesh and Myanmar. So here they are asking for more than 2 states. So answer is 4. So you see, take political map of India and do basic research like this. I am also planning to make a video based on India political map, like basic facts like this: how many states sharing borders with how many countries. So likewise, how many which state in India shares border with many other states. So likewise, with the basic facts, I am planning to make a video which I'll upload soon. Which one of the following state do not share boundary with Chhattisgarh? This is again a challenging question. Telangana, Andhra Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, all the 3 states share a small boundary. Telangana and Uttar Pradesh you can surely answer, but Andhra Pradesh there is a small border, and Bihar is the answer because it is not sharing any border here. So if you could see here, Uttar Pradesh is sharing border here. So there is no border with Bihar. Telangana is sharing border here, and AP is sharing a small border here. So Bihar is the answer. Okay. So you have to study like this also, the political map. Okay. The next question. This question is a very interesting question and very impressive question. Which one of the following rivers join Ganga directly? So that is, which one of the following rivers is the direct tributary of Ganga? Like for example, Chambal river, Betwa and Ken. All these 3 rivers are not tributaries of Ganga. In general, they are Gangetic rivers only, but they are tributaries of Yamuna. Okay. So we are having Yamuna, which meets Ganga at Allahabad. So Chambal meets first, then we are having Betwa, then we are having Ken. So Ken, Betwa and Chambal, all these 3 rivers meet Yamuna first, and then they are tributaries of Yamuna. They are right bank tributaries of Yamuna. Then Yamuna itself is a right bank tributary of Ganga. Okay. So all the 3 states won't come because they are tributaries of Yamuna. And finally we are having Son river here, which starts in the Amarkantak plateau. So this Son river directly joins Ganga near Patna. So hence Patna is called as Jaladurga, because there are 4 states meeting near Patna, 4 rivers meeting near Patna. So Son is the answer because it is directly meeting Ganga, while Chambar, Betwa, Ken are the tributaries of Yamuna. So this is a very interesting question. So see now, this is the purpose of seeing this question paper. Likewise, you will be knowing innovative ways how UPSC can ask a question. So now whenever you are studying rivers, you can be very clear. So which is a direct tributary and which is a sub tributary. Okay. So this is that interesting map here. Like I said here, Patna is a Jaladurga because 5 rivers will come here. So one is Ganga, another is Ghangra, another is Ghandak, another is Son. Son, Ganga, Ghangra, Ghandak, all these 4 rivers are meeting here, and there will be a small tributary also. So hence Patna is surrounded by these 4 rivers. Hence this Patna was considered to be a successful capital territory. So Magadhan kings use Patna as their capital because of this characteristics. So Son meets here. If you could see here, Ken, Betwa and Chambal are here. See, Ken, Betwa, there is a very big controversy going because Ken and Betwa are being interlinked, and it is also submerging the Panna Tiger Reserve located in near the Ken. So there is a very big controversy now. So hence you have to be aware of all those things. So study the maps and tributaries very clearly. Start with the major rivers and finish. So first finish the major rivers like Ganga, Brahmaputra, Indus, Narmada, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. So these are all the major rivers of India. So then you see the next round of rivers like Mahanadi and all those rivers, Tapi. So this is another interesting question from the world map. Which one of the following rivers does not drain into the Black Sea? So which of these rivers does not go into the Black Sea? So we have seen already UPSC asked the question, which of the following countries are surrounding the Black Sea? So this is the Black Sea, and which of the following countries are bordering the Black Sea? That is one question. Now they have asked the question with respect to rivers. So we all know Volga is a river which drains in the Caspian Sea. Dnieper, Don and Duanbe, all these 3 rivers go and drain in Black Sea. If you could see the map here, Dnieper is in the northern part, Duanbe is in the western part, and we are having Don. Don comes from Russia and it meets the Sea of Azov. See, Sea of Azov is also part of Black Sea, right? So all these 3 rivers drain in Black Sea. But if you could see Volga river. So Volga is a river which goes and drains in the Caspian Sea. So this is the Caspian Sea, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan. These are all the nations surrounding Russia, surrounding the Caspian Sea. So these are all the rivers which comes in the Caspian Sea, which you have to remember. So Ural river, Volga, Terek, Kura, Araks, Atark. So there are many things you can't remember all. At least just have an idea. See, even though you are not remembering, if you could know, the UPSC will not ask a question based on Atarak or Araks. They will be just testing whether you know Volga or Ural. In this question also, UPSC was not testing whether you know Dnieper or Duanbe or Don, because these are all the minor rivers. But Volga is a very major river. You know, Volga is one of the lifeline of Russia. So, but you have to know where Volga goes. So that is what the UPSC's intention was. If you know that Volga is not going into the Black Sea, you would have answered this. So that is the logic here. UPSC is not bothering about these 3. So know only about the major rivers. Then you can easily solve. Know that Ural and Volga goes into the Caspian Sea. So that is enough. So no need to worry much. Okay. So thank you, friends. In this video, we saw 2 things. That is questions from Indian geography. So questions from Indian geography and the map questions we saw in this video. So in next video, which is coming soon, we will be discussing the questions asked from the world geography. So that is world physical geography. Okay. So the questions from world physical geography we'll see in the next video. So thank you guys. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.